I think it's so hard to predict right now what the uses are going to be. We have some ideas based on the technology we have now. We don't know how small it will be. We don't know how ubiquitous it'll be. We don't know what the rules will be. I'm optimistic. I think that we're going to be, there's a ramp-up period for any technology, right? As Mickey said earlier, the idea of the camera was so jarring to everyone that they were banned from beaches and banned what have you. The point he left out, though, is that modern privacy law emanated from that fear. We don't know what law is going to emanate from the fear we have right now. Maybe nothing. Maybe we'll adapt the old stuff, or maybe we're going to see something that's totally different. I think that we'll be able to strike some sort of balance. And I think news gatherers are going to be at the forefront. I think if you think about massive protests like Ferguson or natural disasters or anything like that, there's such a thirst for understanding what happens in those spaces that we'll carve out some way to see it. I think for good, it's absolutely disaster relief. I think we see chronically underserved areas that become doubly underserved when there's some sort of terrible access preventing catastrophe that happens. And there are great people who get out there as soon as they can and provide the healthcare and the medication and the just documenting what's happening, but it takes time. And I think especially in dangerous areas and dangerous times where the weather is uncertain, the landscape is uncertain, sending a drone out to just begin tracking all of that in the beginning would just give us a leg up and start all of that, like getting care and getting aid out faster. And for harm, I think the issue of security, not just data security, actual physical security against hacking for drones is a huge one, and I think we often don't talk about it. When we talk about safety, we talk about the drone like just falling, like running out of battery and falling on your head. We don't talk about malicious hacking enough, and we really should. And I think that could be a solution that's solved technologically. It could be something that we require users to have, and then we have to figure out how hobbyists make sure they're up to par. But I think we don't talk about that enough, and it's a big deal. And I think it will be so easy to limit drone use by saying, oh, we've just closed the airspace over this massive protest. We've just, no one can fly anywhere near the NSA, or maybe anything in Langley, Virginia, or maybe any part of DC, or maybe any part of the state, right? It's really easy to encroach that security logic onto anything that provides transparency, and a drone equipped with a camera is a pretty good tool for transparency. And I think this is a bigger conversation we're having about recording, about cameras, about access, and drones are just going to be another frontier. I worry a little bit that because there's enough of the population who's afraid of drones, they think of these things as like killer lasers in the sky, that it'll be easy to use the drone as a way to shut down some of these rights, as isn't this scary, we're going to pass this law that ends up being expansive and stretched and overbroad. And I think that's a thing that many people, thankfully, are already thinking about, so hopefully it can't get too bad.